A very good afternoon to one and all present in this virtual workshop. I once again welcome you all to the next session of virtual workshop on essential skills for professional must to be best. And I'm thanking you all again for joining this virtual workshop. And today we are going to talk about a very burning topic, a very required topic, which every professional, whoever is dealing with library services or library activities must know, and that is research or academic integrity. And on this occasion, we have very distinguished speaker, very renowned professional, Professor Dr. Ramesh Gaur. I think needless to mention, you all are aware about him. Before we proceed for the session, I would like to give brief introduction. Today I have opportunity to introduce Sir. Professor Dr. Ramesh C. Gaur is presently working in the capacity of Dean and Director of Library and Information Science at Head Kalanidhi Division at Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, IGNCA, New Delhi, Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Professor Ramesh Gaur sir has been given responsibility by Ministry of Culture, Government of India in the capacity of to work in the capacity of officer on special duty for setting up Indian Institute of Heritage. Prior to this, he also worked in the different capacity in the different organization. In JNU, he worked in the capacity of University Librarian, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research, Mumbai, CRRI, New Delhi, Management Development Institute, Gurgaon, and IMT Ghaziabad. Sir has also received many international and national honors and awards, and Fulbright Scholar at VT USA is one of them. Sir has visited, I think, more than 24 countries. He has also published many international and national publication articles, many good, you can say, resources, which is beneficial for setting the standards. Sir, I really feel very honored to have Sir today. Professor Gaur sir is the first Indian nominated. You all will be happy to know that he is the first Indian nominated as member International Advisory Committee UNESCO, member of the World Program 2018, as well as the member UNESCO Global Task Force on Indigenous Language 2020. It is really an honor to have you here, sir, in the virtual workshop on essential skills for professionals. I request all the participants to join my hand to welcome Professor Gaur sir. Sir, we all welcome you to this virtual workshop, and we hope that today's session is going to be very useful for all the professionals. So, with these words, may I request you, sir, to please take over the session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, DP, for a very kind and generous introduction. And let me congratulate you for initiating this such an important program, because in this current pandemic and also the way libraries are changing because of various technological developments, things are changing very drastically, and there are a lot of disruptions in the libraries. And in this current era, it is important for library professionals to understand the changing role and responsibilities, how they should prepare themselves in this context, how they should understand the requirement of the users, and particularly for academic libraries, for universities, for colleges, it is important for them to understand that how they should engage researcher, how they should help various kind of universities in enhancing the quality of research, how they should help in introducing various services, support systems, in improving the quality of research. So in that context, I think today's my talk will be focused in two ways. The first focus of my talk will be for those librarians, library information professionals, that how they should prepare themselves. How should they understand the need to understand this important topic, research and academic integrity? So how they should prepare themselves in providing various kind of services. Like, UGC has a 2 credit course on research and publication ethics. And libraries science department and libraries are the best to run this course for PhD students. So in this entire course, there are different topics dealing with what is the research and publication ethics, uh, various kind of other concerned issues, concerned research ethics. In this context, it is important for everyone to understand that how research integrity and other issues are related to it. So in this presentation, I will try to give you certain essential components which you should know. You should also develop expertise in that. And at the same time, those who are the researchers, who are teachers and the PhD student attending this, I will also try to explain them that what is plagiarism, how to detect, how to avoid it, and what are the other various components in avoiding plagiarism. So in this context, I will try to focus on various aspects. I may be voice may be little low because after recovering from corona, I'm still feeling little weakness. So I may not have the same enthusiasm in my talk, but try to make you understand the various kind of essential components, essential requirement concerning the topic, what we call research or academic integrity. So let me share my PPT before I start my presentation. Just give me a second.
Yes, sir.
So I hope you can see my window presentation PPT.
Yes, sir. It is visible now.
Okay, fine. So when we talk about research and academic integrity, it is important to understand what is research. So basically, research, we talk about basic research and applied research. So basic research is work of the scientist and thus who pursue their investigation without conscious goals other than the desire to unravel the secrets of nature. In modern programs of industrial research and development, basic research, sometimes also called pure research, is usually not entirely pure. It is commonly directed towards a generalized goal, such as investigation of frontier of technology that promises to address the problems of a given industry. An example of this is research being done on, like currently, to find a vaccine for the corona. Uh, then applied research carries the finding of basic research to a point where there can be exploited to meet specific need, while the development stage of research and development includes the steps necessary to bring a new or modified product or process into production. So in Europe, the United States and Japan and unified concept research and development has been an integral part of economic planning, both by government and by the private industry. So when you get some kind of research vaccine developed, and then you have to apply it, to do the trial, clinical trial, and then you have to apply it on for final production. So in this context, UNESCO has given a definition that research is a systematic and creative actions taken to increase knowledge about humans, culture, and society, and to apply it in a new areas of interest. And scientific research is a research performed by applying systematic and constructive scientific methods to obtain analyze and interpret data. So in this context, research is a very important component in our life, and research has various steps, starting from the problem formulation. Like first you have to make the synopsis, and then you have to decide on a project, and then you have to design questionnaires to pursue that particular research. You have to make various kind of assumptions, hypotheses, and then you have to collect the data. So you have to use various kind of sampling methods, research methodology, and you have to use various kind of data collection methods, interview, questionnaire, or observations. And after collecting those research data, you have to analyze that particular data, and that data, after analysis, is put up in the form of a findings, summary of recommendation, in form of a thesis, or in form of a research article, or in form of a research paper. So in this entire process, there are certain kind of ethical or guidelines given by the universities, the funding agencies, and various associations, or various kind of societies, and also various kind of agencies. So in this entire research process, every steps you have to follow certain guidelines. You have to follow certain rules. You have to follow certain international conventions, and that we will discuss later how it is done. So let's talk about first guidelines. Whenever you do a research, PhD research, your university provides certain guidelines. And in these guidelines, there are certain guidelines developed by your university. There are certain guidelines given by the regulating authorities like University Grant Commission in India. So UGC has come out with various kind of regulation, particularly dealing with research and academic integrity. So as a professional, as a librarian, everybody must know about these rules. So the first thing in this guidelines and regulation is the UGC regulation of minimum standards and procedure for the award of MPhil PhD degree, regulation 2009, which has been revised from time to time. So you should know about these regulations. And one of the important components regarding thesis dissertation is that you need to submit electronic copy of your thesis and dissertation in a repository called Sodh Ganga, and I'm sure libraries have to take this responsibility. Now, the most important and second regulation, which is called UGC Promotion of Academic Integrity and Prevention of Plagiarism in Higher Education Institutions, Regulation 2018. It was notified in Gazette on 31st July 2018. I was the member of the committee which drafted these regulations. I will give you more information about these regulations in the next slides. And it is mandatory for every college, every university to implement these regulations. Then in 2019 June, UGC has also come out with the UGC-CARE list of quality reference journals. I will explain you about this also in previous next slides. The very important things concerning libraries and the PhD student is 2-credit course on research and publication ethics, which was announced in December 2019. It has been approved by the UGC, and it is mandatory for each and every PhD student in a pre-PhD coursework. So library and library science department are the best departments to conduct this particular course. So you need to understand this course, its contents, or also various topics concerning it. Also, there were some doubts regarding self-plagiarism. So UGC given a clarification in 2019 about self-plagiarism. Then very recently, last year in September, UGC constituted a committee under the chairmanship of Professor Bhatnagar, and that committee has come out with a document called Guidance Document for Good Academic Research Practices. And that document gives you understanding about various components related to research and publication ethics, research ethics, academic integrity, research misconduct, and so on and so on. It is important for everybody. So all these regulations are important to read, and I suggest if you have not gone through these regulations, you may be a librarian, you may be a teacher, you may be a PhD student, everybody must read these documents. These all are available under public domain at the website. You can freely download it. Okay, now the next important thing which in these regulation is this University Grant Commission, so Regulations 2018. It was notified on 31st July 2018, so applicable to all universities and colleges who are awarding PhD degree. So immediately you should get it implemented if your university has not implemented. And in this these regulations, apart from creating awareness and training program, also to provide a good plagiarism detection software, and also to help in formulating guidelines how to detect plagiarism. These are the essential requirements. Besides, it is very important that every university should constitute two level of academic integrity panel: departmental level academic integrity panel or institutional level academic integrity panel. Suppose example, Jawaharlal Nehru University, there are a number of schools. So each school should have a departmental level academic integrity panel, and GNU at institutional level should have a institutional level academic integrity panel. The departmental level academic integrity panel has to investigate the matters and has to put to the institution level committee for the final decision and punishment or any kind of action on the recommendations. Penalties are according to these regulations. 10% similarities are excluded from any punishment. And then penalties have been divided into level 1, level 2, level 3 according to the percentage of similarities. And in this, there are repeated offense, there is a separate punishment for that. There is a more restricted punishment. A person can lose a job, a student can be restricted, in the starting warning can be given. So now this is every PhD student, every library professional should understand these regulations and apply and get it, understand and apply it in the university. Based on these regulations, every university should develop its plagiarism policy, and that plagiarism policy should clearly define various components besides regulations. It also provides a guide to plagiarism. What is plagiarism? Types of plagiarism. How to detect plagiarism. Various FAQs related to plagiarism. How to avoid a guide for a student. How to avoid a guide for faculty member. How to cite sources. What is bibliography? Various kind of citation tools, and also various kind of other important component. So this should be done under a policy, and that every university should have a written policy document. We call it University Plagiarism Policy or College Plagiarism Policy. As I mentioned earlier in the regulation, this is another important initiative of University Grant Commission, UGC-CARE. What is that UGC-CARE? This is a list of journals, recommended journal in which you should publish your article. And it is important for you that you should publish only in the journals which are listed in the UGC-CARE list. If you publish in any other journal, you will not get research score for it. And what is this UGC-CARE list? All the details are there on the website. It is divided into two parts, list group 1 and list group 2. List group 2 is basically consists of all important journals included in globally indexed databases like Scopus and Web of Science. And if you search list group 2, all the journals of Scopus and Web of Science, as mentioned here, are included. There may be certain journals which are not part of Scopus and Web of Science, but quality journals. So keeping in view, another list has been created that is called list group 1. So that list group 1 contains a list of Indian journals or foreign journals, especially from disciplines of arts, humanities, languages, culture, and Indian knowledge system. These journals, suppose if you feel there is a good journal which is not part of UGC-CARE. There is a form available at website. You can recommend, you can suggest that that journal should be included in UGC-CARE list. So basic purpose of this list is to avoid publishing in predatory journals. So every one of you should know about that. That is essential requirement for it. Many people try to misuse this list. Some people have started clone journals, similar names of the journals as listed in UGC-CARE list. So you have to be very careful whenever you are publishing. Also identify that it should not be a clone journal. Now, as I mentioned, this Office of Research, this document, Research Integrity document, guidance document prepared by UGC, also define the various components regarding ethics, rigor, relevance, transparency, research, and various kind of other components. So I recommend you to read this complete document. Okay. So now let's go to the basic topic of understanding academic integrity or research integrity. What it is? So research integrity or academic integrity broadly refers to the thoughtful and honest adherence to relevant ethical, disciplinary, and financial standards in promotion, design, conduct, evaluation, and sharing of the research. Research integrity includes use of honest and verified methods in proposing, performing, and evaluating research, and reporting research results with particular attention to adherence to rules, regulation, and guidelines following commonly accepted professional codes or norms. As I mentioned in the beginning, that starting from the problem formulation to the final dissemination of the result, every step there are certain guidelines, there are certain kind of methods, there's some kind of relevant ethical or disciplinary standards. So one has to follow, and all these are considered research integrity or academic integrity. Any such ethical or regulatory mechanism which is being followed in research comes under academic integrity or research integrity. When we talk about ethics in research, it's a very broad topic. For example, when you talk about research, every step there is honesty, there is objectivity, there is an issue of integrity, there is an issue of carefulness, there is an issue of openness, like openness in problem formulation, data collection, reliability, data reliability, or fairness, using various kind of fairness principles, following various kind of intellectual copyrights and other things, use of robust research methodology, maintaining the confidentiality, maintaining the responsibility, like as a supervisor, showing high standards in mentorship, and also showing respect for colleagues, respect for the society. You all know that it is believed this COVID-19 coronavirus has been developed in a lab in China. If it is true, then it is against the society. It is against the social responsibility of the society. So in this context, one has to really understand that your research should not go against the society. And various kind of legality issues. And also when you do a research, due care should be taken on animal care and human subjects. So your research should not be dangerous to animals. It should not be dangerous to the human subjects. So that's why we take care of a lot of issues in clinical trials and all those things. So this research ethics is a very broad topic, and I think my suggestion is that you should try to understand all these. But most important thing in this is research and publication ethics, particularly with the point of view of libraries. What is research and publication ethics? Research misconduct or scientific misconduct means errors, falsification, fabrication, and plagiarism. Basically, it is the violation of the standard codes of scholarly conduct and ethical behavior in the publication of professional scientific research, means a research paper or a thesis or a book or anything like that. So in this context, these research and publication ethics deals with issues concerning authorship, data ownership, obtaining various kind of consents, and managing various kind of systems, following a strict peer review system, avoiding any kind of conflict of interest or obligations, and also following all proper licensing policies, should use only licensed images, take permission wherever it is required, and also take care of animal subject and human subject. So these research and publication ethics are a set of common rules among authors, editors, reviewers, and publishers to protect integrity of the scientific cause. Means when you are writing a paper, that paper should be based on consensus about standards and best practices. It should ensure the integrity of the scientific record, and it should also ensure that readers can trust what they read. So everything concerning writing a research paper, getting it published, getting it disseminated comes under research and publication ethics. Now let's try to understand what is research misconduct in more detail. Why we do research? To contribute to or extend knowledge. And how do we do this? By building on the work of others. No research can be done without referring existing knowledge. You need to refer various kind of books, articles, or monographs or internet resources. So without referring, there is no possibility of any research. And there is no harm also. Nobody stop you from referring anything. Issue comes when you reporting your research. When you are writing your research result, when you are writing your recommendation, you are writing a research paper, you are writing a thesis, you are writing a book. So when you are writing a research report, you are expected to place your research in the right context, to show that you are aware what else is happening, to show that you understand where your work fits, to show your reports must contain an analysis of similar and relevant works under literature review. And same time, your report should able to make a clear distinction between what is your own original work, ideas, what is your opinion about the work of others, means citations, the claims of others you are reporting, means citations, and what is actually said by others verbatim, means quotations. And this work can be ideas, description, research, data, opinions, pictures, figure, audio, video, whatever piece of information. And why this is important? It is important that a reader, examiner, a reviewer, a referee should be able to understand the difference between your own ideas, your own work, and opinion of others, and the verbatim words said by others. And if you are not able to make that distinction, you are committing certain errors, and that those errors comes under research or scientific misconduct. So what misconduct means? Misconduct means fabrication, falsification, plagiarism, or any other practice that seriously deviates from practices commonly accepted in the discipline or in the academic and research communities, generally in proposing, performing, reviewing, or reporting research creative activities. And let's discuss one by one. What is fabrication? Fabrication is an intentional act of making up data or results or recording or reporting. Means you are using fake data. You are using a data for research has never been done. Example, there was a student in IMTech Chandigarh CSR lab. He went to South Korea, and after returning from that place, he talked to his supervisor that I have done wonderful research and I have collected some data. Based on that data, 7 articles were published by the supervisor and the student in various journals. Later, it was found that that research was never done. It was a fake research, fake data. So this is an academic fraud. This is an intentional act of plagiarism. Punishment is the only option for that. Next comes the falsification. What is falsification? Manipulating research materials, equipment, or processes, or changing or omitting, suppressing data or results without scientific or statistical justification, such that the research is not accurately represented in the research record. This would include the misrepresentation of uncertainty during statistical analysis of the data. Means you are not getting desired result through your real research. So what you are doing, you are manipulating research. You are manipulating various methods. It is also a kind of academic fraud. It is also an act of intentional plagiarism. So punishment is the only solution. Now comes to the next important thing, that is plagiarism. What is plagiarism? Plagiarism is a word which has been derived from a Latin word, plagiarize, actually comes from plagiare, means to kidnap. So it is an act of stealing someone's work and attempting to pass it off your own work. And this can be applied to anything from papers, photographs, songs, video, anything. So in this plagiarism, you are using someone's work, you are using someone's idea, you are using someone's text, and you are not recognizing, you are not giving credit to the concerned original creator of the idea. So when you are not giving credit to the original creator of that idea or text, it comes under plagiarism. As I already explained you, intentional plagiarism in form of fabrication and falsification. Let's talk about unintentional or accidental plagiarism. Something which you don't want to do, something majority of people don't want to do, but it is happening because of unawareness, because of lack of understanding, because of lack of knowledge about various issues concerning research writing, maybe careless paraphrasing, don't know how to cite properly. You are quoting excessively. Your 60% contents are from the quotations or citations. It doesn't consider a original paper. You don't know how to present voice of others, integrate ideas of others. You don't know how to take text and ideas from multiple sources. So in this context, there are certain things which you are not aware of that, and it is happening because of this only. And unintentional or accidental plagiarism can be detected by using plagiarism detection softwares and can be corrected also. Now next come to the another type of plagiarism, that is called self-plagiarism. This is concerning your own writing. See, in the context of research writing, there is no difference between your writing or my writing. All rules apply to you as well as to me. And even UGC has given a clarification that reproduction in part or whole of one's own previously published work without adequate citation and proper acknowledgement, and claiming the most recent work as new and original for any academic advantages amounts to be text reciting. It is also known as self-plagiarism. So there are a number of issues, like it may be SALAMI slicing, it may be various other issues, reusing data, or publishing same paper, or publishing two different papers with same data. So in this context, you have to use all the citation rules. You have to properly cite your references before you want to use your own material. There is only one exception in this case, that is the PhD student can include his or her research papers in the thesis. That is not considered plagiarism. But if you want to publish that thesis as a book, that time you have to remove those things. Right? Besides this, I will also try to explain you minor and major plagiarism. Minor plagiarism defined as a small amount of paraphrasing, quotation, or use of diagrams, charts, etc. without adequate citation. Lack of knowledge of the principles of academic integrity, poor scholarship, that is when student through experience of carelessness fails to reference appropriately or adequately, identify the source of the material which they use, inaccurate representation of findings without deliberate distortion, lack of diligence in declaring relevant conflicts of interest. So these are some of the minor cases of the plagiarism, but there may be many more also. Similarly, major plagiarism. So major plagiarism, number one, is defined as extensive paraphrasing or quoting without proper citation of the source, lifting directly from a text to other academic source without reference, the use of papers or parts therefore from essay bank either download from the internet or obtained from other sources, presenting another's design or concept as one own and so on, continued instances of what was initially regarded as minor plagiarism, like you have been doing is habitually. Other examples may be the willful destruction of data, except where required by the legitimate data provider or where norms of privacy might otherwise be endangered, fabrication or falsification of data, falsification of ownership, defamation, use of uh, images without permission, systematic abuse of the terms and condition of licensed research resources, and there may be some other violation of licensing and intellectual property rights. Besides, there are some more ethical issues in research publication cases, including a colleague as an author on a paper in return of a favor, even though the colleague did not make a serious contribution. Discussing with your colleagues confidentiality data from a paper that are reviewing for journal, you are reviewing, so you should not disclose the confidentiality, using inappropriate statistical techniques in data analysis, bypassing the peer review system, using piracy, reviews of the intellectual property right, use of various kind of research resources. Duplicate or redundant publishing is also comes under plagiarism or research misconduct, like publishing same paper or substantially similar paper with or without citation, with or without obtaining permission of copyright holder. If you feel the paper has to be published, proper procedures to be followed by obtaining the permission of the copyright holder and by disclosing and informing as you tell very well. Simultaneous publishing is also not allowed. Submitting same paper simultaneously in more than one journals, two or more journals. If you are feeling the journal is delaying, first you should withdraw your article, and after seeking withdrawal permission with the contents of authors, you should submit to the next paper and also declare that this paper was previously submitted in this so and so journal, but because of delay it has been withdrawn. And all the relevant communication should be attached. You also should avoid salami slicing or salami publication. Slicing of research contents from a meaningful paper to different papers to increase publication count, to get more recognition, to get promotion, to get several fundings. So this breaking of study in parts, showing separate study is also research misconduct. And publishing like suppose your paper has been published in one language, if you want to publish in another language, then you should follow proper procedure by declaring, by taking permission from all the copyright holders and the concerned editors, etc. So these are some of other issues concerning research misconduct. Ghost writing is also part of research misconduct or research and publication ethics. You should also avoid. You should properly declare if you are taking help, because there is many people get it their thesis written by various agencies and the research reports and research. So in that case, you have to declare it. So I hope I'm able to explain you what is plagiarism, and it is important for every library professional to understand plagiarism. Only then you can explain to your researcher and the faculty members. or the students who are attending it, I am sure they will able to understand what is plagiarism. And if you are able to understand, you should avoid, because there are consequences for it. There are penalties for plagiarism. One can lose your degree, can be expelled from the university, can be asked to resubmit, and there are a faculty member can lose a job, a staff can lose a job, increment can be stopped. In India, currently the punishment is to be taken by the PhD and master student under this UGC regulation 2018, which I have already explained to you. There are not just students, but people at highest level have been found. In this, you may be reaching a highest level, but if you have committed an error in submitting your PhD thesis, you can be punished anytime. Example is this German education minister. She has to resign because her PhD thesis was found plagiarized, and her PhD title was also removed. Similarly, there are some doctors in Abdulaziz Medical College in Gulf countries. They published several articles, not just one, in following the plagiarism procedures, and later they were punished. This was the case I was referring. I am Tech Chandigarh, and even some PhD guides stolen the data of their own colleagues. The vice chancellor was involved. Sometimes people can take extreme steps. This gentleman, Sasri, was one of 11 authors on one paper and one of 8 in other paper. And after knowing this, that those 2 papers have been retracted, he committed suicide. So this is very dangerous thing, that people can take the life in the disgrace. And similarly, in a MPhil student in India, Veer Nirmal, South Gujarat University, she also committed suicide when her MPhil dissertation was being investigated for plagiarism. Okay, so please understand that avoiding plagiarism is in your best interest. Neither the library have any interest, nor your research department, or nor the university. Nobody is having any interest. Only you are the most significant person to be affected by the plagiarism. So you should avoid it. Publishers are aware of that. There is a committee on publication ethics, which was established in 1997, and I think every publisher is a member of it. This is one of the criteria of a quality journal, that editors should be member of COPE. COPE also has given certain guidelines or flowchart for checking pre-publication plagiarism, also post-publication plagiarism. Like how to check post-publication, it is clearly defined in this. It also has certain minimum punishment guidelines. According to the COPE, minor plagiarism cases, if paper is submitted, author asked to rewrite it. If paper has been published, author is asked to make it corrections, error down. But if it is a major case of plagiarism, then paper has to be, if paper is submitted, it is to be rejected. Paper is published, it is to be retracted. At the same time, institution of the author is to be informed about this plagiarism, right? But publishers are free to take tough action, higher action. These are the minimum guidelines of COPE, but many publishers have their own way of punishment. They also have various kind of parameters which take care of various other punishment. This is the Springer Journal of Thermal Spray Technology. It has various guidelines regarding if it is a minor case of plagiarism, there are different guidelines for that. If it is a intimate case of plagiarism, article is to be rejected and the author is forbidden to submit further articles for 1 year. If it is a severe case of plagiarism, paper is rejected and authors are forbidden to submit further articles for 5 years. So every publisher can have their own stricter guidelines also, and these guidelines are given in their journals. So the retraction cases are increasing, and after 2015, it shows some declining trends. Why now retraction cases are decreasing? There are two reasons for that. Number one, now most of the reputed publishers, they are well prepared with the technologies. There are multiple level of checking of plagiarism before final printing. So it is very difficult to publish or plagiarize paper with any publisher. Second thing, the retraction process is a very long process. It takes time in investigation and final punishment, etc. But one thing is clear, if your paper is redacted, you are becoming a history sheeter in publishing research domain. People will always quote you that you are a plagiarist. Okay, so you know how publishers are prepared. Now, next part of presentation, I will try to give you some guidelines or essential information for plagiarism detection. Most of you know about various softwares. In India, currently, there are two major software which are used. One is Urkund and another is Turnitin. These are the major softwares. Turnitin and Urkund. Urkund is provided by Implement Center, free to the universities which are member of Sindhu Consortium. So, how to, like many people ask me, what is the criteria of selecting a good software? So my suggestion is that there are three important parameters. The first parameter is databases for content matching. A particular software which is having highest number of databases for content matching can give you the best results. In this context, Turnitin or Authenticate are having more superiority over other products. Second is how many languages it support translation. So as per my current understanding, Turnitin provides support for 27 languages, which is a quite good number of. And third is the user friendliness. How user friendly, or what kind of other facilities like PDF download or English correction, etc. is provided. Because if you don't have a software like Turnitin, then you should also use a software called Grammarly for grammar corrections and plagiarism detection. So this is the way one should select a software. Now the advantages of these softwares are number of advantages. It prevents plagiarism. It also helps in peer review system. It also helps in assignment checking. Definitely it helps in the citation verification, other issues. Whatever may be the software, there are certain limitations, and so is the case of these softwares. There are some limitations, like these software cannot check mathematical formulas, tables, graphs, and images, number of other things. But still, it is better to have a software, because nothing is perfect in this world, and that's why I recommend you should have a good quality software for your PhD or MPhil student. And library should take responsibility of subscribing Turnitin or any other good software. Before checking see, no software will tell you what is plagiarism. They give you similarities, and how similarities are being checked. In every software, there are certain kind of filters, there are certain kind of parameters which help in restricting, checking bibliographies, quotations, or common knowledge, or something we call it coincidental. So you should exclude this. And as I mentioned that in case of PhD student, the paper published by the PhD student during the period of research on the topic of the research are excluded from this. So that also to be excluded. And it is important to analyze that similarity report or originality report. like this is a case of Turnitin. Right side is the similarities and left side is the contents. Now you have to analyze each and every contents. And how to analyze? First thing, is your citations correct? So in case of citation, missing citation, incorrect citation, or incomplete citation, you should correct the citation. Number two, uh, in case you have summarized it or you are paraphrasing it, then you have to include the citation. This may be something coincidental, you have to ignore it. There may be something common knowledge, you have to ignore it. There may be something which is uh, not under these categories. You can either rewrite it or correct it and put citation or delete it. So a good researcher, it is important to understand how to analyze similarity report. And for a librarian, it is more important because many times, like when I was in JNU, one day one student came to me and said, "Sir, 25% similarities are allowed." I think, no. Okay, no, sir, your staff told me that up to 25% it is green. Turnitin gives the green signal, so it is means green means it is allowed. But that is not the case. So you have to educate your staff. You have to learn that what are the right approach in analyzing those similarities. Only then you can guide your PhD student or faculty members. This originality or similarity percentage is the only way of knowing plagiarism. Ideally, it should be 0%, but it may not be possible. Any similarities can be plagiarism, but it also remember all similarities may not be plagiarism. The researcher and supervisor are the best person to decide on this issue. Like the researcher knows that he has copied or not, and supervisor, being the subject expert, can find out that this similarity is intentional or unintentional or accidental. And also you have to understand that as per UGC regulation, you should not have more than 10% similarities. Okay, so I think this part of presentation I have tried to explain you how to detect plagiarism and what are the essential things you should know about detecting a plagiarism. Now, I'm going to the next part of the presentation, which is how to avoid plagiarization. What are the essential things you should do for avoiding plagiarism? The most important thing that your university, your college should develop a good culture of research. You should have good training and support for your faculty and students. Should have good e-research infrastructure, very good library information facilities. Your library should be integrated with IQAC and all kind of research integrity, Office of Research Integrity, or uh, all kind of research activities, research department. And you should recognize research, motivate your faculty member, and also have a balance in teaching and research responsibilities. And also institute certain kind of awards for enhancing the quality. And you should have various tools like you should have a to help in grammar correction. You should have tools like Grammarly. For plagiarism detection, you should have Turnitin or Untitled. And also you should have various kind of other uh, citation management like Scopus, Web of Science, either Scopus or Web of Science. You should also have training and reference management tool like Mandlet, EndNote, or Zotero. You should also organize various kind of author workshops and plagiarism awareness workshop and other things. So a good research support. This is the new role of libraries and libraries, and these are the essential components. Yeah, you should understand that. See, when I started this in 2012 in JNU, no library was doing all those works. So I consider myself as a pioneer in this area. And I successfully implemented in JNU. And now it is a history. Every university, every library, every college is doing this. So I'm really proud of my work on this area and feel honored that I initiated this discussion in 2012. And now it is finding foothold in the universities and colleges. There are certain must-do things. See, educate your researcher that simply be honest in writing. You should read all the guidelines carefully. Many times people write article first and then they look for journal. First, you should make an abstract and summary of the article, and then you search for a journal, and then you should follow the guidelines of the journal before writing an article. You should attend various kind of research methodology workshop, English language courses, training in plagiarism or reference tools. Also, it is important to educate students about how to read and analysis. Reading is an art, how to read best, how to get best out of the reading. That's a need to be integrated. Besides that, number of things, initiative is to be taken by the libraries to create a good research infrastructure and environment. Everybody is not a born researcher, but researcher can be made by good quality preparedness. And in this context, there are a number of other issues one should know about it. You should recommend every researcher to register on ORCID. There are a number of advantages of ORCID. It is a free software, just like other ID for Indian citizen, and it helps in many ways. And you should also be part of various research forums like academia or ResearchGate to enhance the visibility of the research, to increase the visibility of research, and also to look for other resources. You should create a good research profile. It is very important for researcher to have account on ORCID, ResearchGate, Mendeley, Academia, Google Scholar, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Mendeley. And also you should be using indexing database, Google Scholar and Scopus and Web of Science, other resources. It is important for you to keep it in mind. It is also important that you should understand or educate the student about various nuances of literature review. What is it? What is the importance of literature review? Literature review is basically help in many ways in enhancing the basic foundation of the research. So consulting relevant readings, databases, text source for the search, ensuring search results are easily retrievable and traceable. It is the information, current information, and whatever you are searching for under literature review, that information should be reliable, error-free, factual, relevant, unbiased, verifiable, and provide in-depth knowledge. And you should use the literature of author which have credentials, high-quality authors in research. You should also make sure that what research material you are using is plagiarism free. If your material is plagiarized, then your research is also plagiarized or maybe go in the wrong direction. So in this context, it is very important to understand what to search, how to search, what not to search. So it is the responsibility of the librarians to basically understand that what are the various ways of searching on internet. And you should guide, your library should guide the scholars about the various aspects of this issue of, because everybody is used to Google, and whenever we want to search, we go to Google. But these facts about Google should be known to everybody. Google or any other standard search engines provide access to just 15 to 20% web contents, because 80 to 85% web contents are not indexed by Google. Number two, Google or any standard search engine does not certify the authenticity of the information. What you are searching on Google is fake or disinformation or misinformation. Google will never certify. Number three, while searching on Google or any other standard search engines, you may not get most relevant results higher up in relevancy ranking. Means, suppose if you want, I am searching top open access journal, and the result was best open access journal, Omics International. Omics International is a predatory publication. Now you can understand that this Google does not, or any other standard search engine does not help you in getting the right information. How to deal with this information? First, let me clarify. Library is the best place to find out best resources. Internet is not like it or not even a digital library. Number two, you should know how to search on deep web. For librarians, it is important to understand deep web. I will be giving some idea, but if you want to know more about that, I'm having a YouTube channel in the name of Professor Ramesh Gaur. You should go to my YouTube channel. Hundreds of my talks are available, and one of the talk on how to search on deep web is also there. So that will explain you more into detail. But here I would just want to explain you that web is divided into three components: surface web, deep web, and dark web. Surface web is what you search through Google, Yahoo, or other standard search engines. Deep web is something which contains a lot of valuable academic and research or government data. And dark web, we are not much concerned about it. So this deep web is very huge, and interestingly, 95% of the deep web is publicly accessible, means no subscription, no fee. So how to search that deep web? A number of meta search engines have been developed, and these meta search engines, which called semantic search tools and databases, meta search engines like Academic Index, general search engines and databases like Oyster, academic search engines and databases like Google Scholar, scientific search engines and databases like GoCombat, collaborative information databases like Delicious, open access search engines like Core. These are very, very important tools. There are hundreds of such tools. So as a librarian, you should know, and then you should educate your PhD student and MPhil student and the master student and the faculty members that how to search the best out of the internet. If you can be a good searcher, definitely you can be a good researcher. So now let's move to avoiding plagiarism by following a good scientific or good citation system. You should know how to integrate sources while using for research writing. So it is important to understand how to use a source effectively in your paper. You should know how to integrate into your argument, how to integrate into your text, and what is the role of that source which you are using in form of summarization, paraphrasing, or quotation. That is important for you to understand. Please understand that it is not just to increase the number of words. It is to justify an argument. It is to provide certain context or background information. It is to provide answers to certain questions raised by your research, or maybe certain kind of suggestion, providing a certain kind of provocative questions. So all this is important for you to understand. Which part of the source is relevant to you? It is important for you to identify. Remember that main focus of your paper should always be on what you are saying, rather than what any individual source is saying. And you should make an strongest argument, and you should always be trying to strike a balance between your source and your own voices. Sometimes multiple sources may conflict your voice, and it is not good for your research writing. And while writing a paper, make a draft, take help from the senior how to write, take help from the internet. Some templates are available. See, use your own words as much as possible. No one expects you to write like an expert or to a professional writer. You should, however, write like a serious, intelligent student and cite all the sources or write from where you have taken idea or source. See, there are only three ways of using others' materials: summarizing, paraphrasing, and quoting. What is summarizing? When you summarize, you provide your reader with a condensed version of an author's key points. A summary can be as short as few sentences or much longer, depending on the complexity of the text and the level of detail you wish to provide to your readers. But at the same time, after summarization, you need to cite the source. Similarly, paraphrasing. And a paraphrase is a restatement in your words of someone else's ideas. Changing a few words of the original sentences does not make your writing legitimate paraphrase. You must change both the words and the sentence structure of the original without changing the content. And as a smart paraphraser, change the order and structure of the sentence, use synonyms, different forms of words, may change the voice or perspective. But also remember, at the end, you have to cite the source because idea belongs to somebody else, not to you. Third way of using other text is quotation. You should understand various things about quotation. What is quoting? When to quote? How much to quote? How do I incorporate quotation in my paper? Quoting within quotes. How do I include long quotes in my paper? Single versus double quotation. Punctuating quotation. When to quote? The basic rule of thumb in all disciplines is that you should only quote directly from a text when it is important for your readers to see the actual language used by the author of the source. Quotation is not to increase the number of words. How much? Anything. If it is up to 4 words, no need of it is not quotation. A quote is word, sentence, or sentences that a writer copies exactly from a source, means verbatim. If quotation is of 39 words, it is to be in quotation marks. For quotation more than 40 words, it stands alone without quotation marks and is indented 5 spaces from the left margin. But if you are using automated citation tools like Mendeley or EndNote, this is automatically taken care. You don't require anybody's permission to write a quotation. Quotation can be anything, any long, write to quote or write a quotation or quotation right is one of the copyright exceptions provided by the Berne Convention. So you don't require anybody's permission to write a quotation. Then to put single versus double quotation, then to punctuate quotations. All these things should be known to you. One thing which is common knowledge, a well-known fact, information that is likely to appear in numerous sources and to be familiar to large number of people. This is the only time you need not to cite the source. Common knowledge can be left unquoted. And there are a number of examples of the common knowledge. If you are doing a group work or research in group, some assignments in assigned class require you to work in groups. Sometimes you will submit a single piece of work or a joint report as a joint report, or sometimes single report. But in all cases, you have to give credit to all the collaborators. This I already mentioned that a PhD student can include his or her papers without problem. Papers published during the period of research or the topic of the research, and the researcher is the first. Okay. So now, last part of my talk is referencing. It is important for librarians to, because librarians are subject experts and domain expert in this area. What is citation? What is bibliography? Difference between bibliography and annotated bibliography. Difference between endnote and footnote. So you should train your researcher in all those things and should explain each and everything about citation, what citation means, different citation style, it may be MLA style, how the rendering is done in MLA style for book or article or a book chapter or a website, or how it is done in APA or any other citation style. So to avoid confusion, I think I suggest that you should learn about some reference management tools like EndNote is the one which can help you in multiple automated citation. Mendeley is another one of the best software. I consider it. It is having Mendeley desktop and Mendeley web version. There are a number of talks being conducted by Dr. Tripathi on this topic. I will not go more into detail, but these softwares help in creating research diary, also help in PDF annotations. So in this context, I think it is important for you to choose one software and develop mastery in that. And it may be Mendeley, maybe Zotero, whatever you feel is good, you should develop expertise in that particular software. This is important for every researcher to understand that uh, reference management tools are key for all kind of help in avoiding errors in data verification. So in this context, I think, and also these are very good research organizers. Put your research writings, your readings under this version, and it also helps in PDF annotations. Zotero is another good software. You can use whatever you want to use. So I think another last thing which I want to tell you, as a librarian, you should know what is a predatory journal. uh, how to the predatory journals are very common all over the world, and how to identify the predatory journals, a kind of checklist and uh, kinds of some parameters to identify a predatory journal. You should educate your student about, or your teachers about it, or faculty about it, users about it, scientists about it, that how to identify predatory journals, how to avoid publishing in predatory journals. At the same time, you should also tell them that how to find out a good quality open access journal. I have already explained you UGC-CARE list, and then how to choose a good quality journal using a journal finder of various Elsevier, or the journal World of Science, Web of Science Journal Suggester, or Jane, or Journal Guide, or Spy Hub, or various kind of other Bailey's Journal Finder, or Springer Journal Suggester. So in this context, it is important to help them in understanding how to choose a quality journal, and also help them in understanding what is impact factor, what impact factor play a role in this. Also to tell them various kind of other research parameters, index, indicators, and other things. Because the A to Z of the research, one should know what is impact factor, what is immediacy index, how to calculate impact factor, how to calculate immediacy index, what is relatedness index, what is item index, how Google Scholar help, or what are the other tools like Parish or Publish or Parish. So there are a number of things which one should explain to the various scholars, and it is the responsibility of the librarians to explain all these things to the researcher, and you should know, and every librarian should know about G index. So I think whatever I have presented in this my presentation is an essential guide to research and academic integrity for librarians, for the researcher, for the faculty, for the students. If you can understand what I have explained in this 1 hour to 10 minutes talk, I think you will be able to become a good researcher, quality researcher. And if you want to know more about that, as I mentioned, my YouTube channel is there. Before that, I acknowledge all the resources presented in this presentation. My email ID is here, and my YouTube channel is in the name of Professor Ramesh, Gaur, contains hundreds of such talks on academic integrity and research ethics, research publication, etc. So, in addition to this talk, you can go there and get this email. I think now I will stop sharing and will come to the platform. If you have any further query, questions, I will be happy to answer. Thank you very much. You have to unmute. DP, you have to unmute.
Yes, yes. Sir, thank you very much. I think nothing is left now to discuss. As I noted the points, you have covered everything. You started with the research and academic integrity, followed by a discussion about the different plagiarism types, different tools, how to avoid plagiarism. Then, sir, you also highlighted the role of librarian in developing the research culture, and that was really very interesting. We all are supposed to have a research culture in our library to assist the research and researchers and faculties indeed. And sir, I really, this was really wonderful to just hear from you that to be a good searcher, we have to be a good searcher to have a good research. So, sir, this was really wonderful to note, and you followed again. You threw light on different means aspect of writing, and also you mentioned that we have to be an intelligent user. Sir, indeed, it has been really wonderful presentation, and I'm sure all the participants really are going to benefit them with your talk today. You have touched every aspect of research and academic integrity, and this has been really wonderful. It has been unfortunate to know that you have been tested COVID, sir. We all pray to Almighty and also for your speedy recovery, and we request you to please stay safe and healthy. Sir, if you permit me, can we collect some question? Would you like to answer, sir?
Yeah, no problem. Please.
Okay. So, participants, I hope you all enjoyed the session. Now, its session is open for question and answer. I request all the participants, if you have any question or query, so you can type in the chat box. The same will be displayed, and sir will be answering. So far, I have not received any questions, sir. Or even if
No, I'm not able to see any in the chat or
Sir, one question is from Mr. Lalraj VT. He is asking that what is the importance of falsifiability in research? I think he's talking about the falsification.
Falsification is something, a kind of intentional act of plagiarism. Somebody is manipulating research, so it is a crime. It is considered a research misconduct. So it should not be done, and it should be totally avoided, because uh, any point of time, if it is found that your research or PhD is based on any falsification, fabrication, or plagiarism, your research can be cancelled, your degree can be revoked. So never engage. Or the most important thing is that disgrace. You will face punishment, penalties for this kind of act. So falsification is a kind of manipulation in form of using manipulating data or manipulating research material or methods or any kind of manipulation in a hypothesis or anywhere. So that manipulation is falsification.
Sir, the next question is from Mr. Choklingam Gopa Krishna. No, I think he was asking somebody. Aman Kumar. Aman Kumar is asking how we can find out if journal is predatory or not.
Okay, so there are two ways. One is that there are some sites. There is a sites called Black Bell List that also provide. One is Think, Check, and Act. That is also a site. And apart from that, what are the common parameters of a predatory journal? Uh, See, first thing for Indian scholars, that you should check that that journal should be part of UGC-CARE list. If it is not listed, even if it is not a predatory journal, you should not publish it. But generally, predatory journal is an open access journal, and it is always asking for a fee, author processing charges, and these journals are not from a reputed publisher, like it is started by some individuals or some small organization. Every day they will write you and approach you, please contribute article to our journal. And also they will not be listed under a quality impact factor list. They will be showing they have impact factor, but it will not be legalized or authorized impact factor. And also ensure that editorial board of these predatory journal is something which you will not find good quality or really good professional in that particular area of interest. And sometimes person with different background is also member of the editorial board. Their website is not very well developed. They don't provide complete information. They don't also disclose the peer review system. And peer review system is something, one question mark for all the predatory journal. So these are some of the ways you can identify it.
Sir, thank you very much. One more question is there. This is regarding the policy available for, is there any policy available for language related to Sanskrit or Lapcha or Bhutia?
Unfortunately, no good quality software is available for Indian languages, including Sanskrit or Hindi or other regional languages. I understand Turnitin is doing some work, and they might come with a version which is having about Hindi, Sanskrit, and 4-5 regional languages in the due course of time. I have been told by Turnitin. But rest, there is no good quality software available. Only way to check in these languages is currently there is some Indian software. I don't know about the quality of that software, but it is not very highly rated. And also there are some Google tools. You can use some Google tools, Google translation tools to check certain text of those such papers to a minimum level. But unfortunately, there is no good software available for Indian languages.
Sir, I'll pick up one last question, and that is from Mr. Chudamani Bag. If the part of the own complete thesis is published, then whether it come under the Salami publication or not, sir?
If your thesis, if you have published some paper, if you use those published paper again without citation, that is Islamic slicing. But if your thesis is not published as a book and this is the new data or new text, it will not be considered Islamic slicing, because you can publish multiple papers from your thesis depending, but it should not be repeatable. Like the same data and same text should not be repeatable. But if you have different point of view, different findings, and different maybe same data, you can cite this data, that this data was previously published or from your thesis with a proper citation. If you have another finding, you can publish it. So it depends like how you are using your thesis. If it is properly done, it is not Islamic slicing. But if you are repeating one paper with same data with small difference, you are publishing another paper, it may be Islamic slicing.
Sir, there are many questions, but I think you have already answered all of them. And for more detail, I'll request all the participants to visit Sir's YouTube channel, where he has already uploaded a very quality content related to research and also related to academic integrity. So, and further, if you have any more questions, you can send mail to me, and based on the relevancy, I will just forward the mail to sir. And since we all know that sir is not well, so we will not disturb him, and will request him to please take rest. In fact, I was also not aware, sir, that you have been tested
Now I
positive.
am recovered. Now I'm
Sir,
recovered. Actually, my
sir,
entire family got infected, but thanks God,
oh,
recovered now well and fine now.
yes, yes, sir. Situation is really horrible everywhere. So we are all living. Yes, we all have to live with some precaution. Sir, it has been really wonderful to hear you today in this virtual workshop. And on behalf of all the participants and my own behalf, sir, please accept our sincere thanks for accepting the invitation and delivering talk on this research and academic integrity. So thank you, sir. Thank you again.
Thank
And
you.
we all wish you, sir, stay safe, stay healthy. I also wish all the participants to stay safe and healthy wherever you are. Please take care of your health, take care of family, and also maintain social distancing. Follow all the guidelines. Sir, would you like to say something, or shall we conclude the session?
No, sir. Thank you, DP. You are doing great work, and this is very
Thank you, sir.
important. That's why I thought of accepting your invitation, and I think I convey my best wishes to all the viewers. I think it's a large number of you say 1,400 people
Yes,
registered.
sir.
It's very good
Yes, sir.
response, and I think I congratulate them, and congratulate you for this wonderful work. Keep it up, and yeah, good
Thank
day.
you, sir. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
bye
you,
bye.
sir.
Take care. Bye bye.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.